Hello everyone, this is Renier, and today I bring a new video of a very recent game played by Radjabov against Boris Gelfand. The game was a Petrov defense, and let's see what happened there, because it's not every day that Gelfand loses with black in the Petrov. After d6, knight f3, knight takes on e4. We're following the main line, bishop d3, and now knight c6. This is all book. The alternative is bishop d6, which is a much more aggressive line. Okay, now after knight c6, white castles, bishop e7, and now rook e1. This is a very interesting line with the idea of c4 on the next move. I know that basically here in this position the lines divide into c4 or rook e1. So c4 is the main line and rook e1 is a side line. After bishop g4, then c3 is the main move inside the rook e1 variation, but there is this other move which is very interesting, c4. It includes a pawn sacrifice, but it gives white a very interesting game, something very difficult to achieve in the Petrov defense, where everything is so equal. So, for example, let's see what are the black options in this position. First of all, knight takes on d4 is a big mistake, since after bishop takes on e4, d takes and queen takes d4, black lost a piece. He can try bishop f3, but again after queen f3, taking the pawn on d4 is not good enough. After queen e3, knight f5, queen h3 attacks the knight on f5, the only move knight d6, and then c takes on d5, white regains the pawn with an excellent game. After knight f6, knight c3, for example. I would say in this position white has a clear advantage. So knight f6, this is the main move, retreating the knight from the center. And now knight c3, white continues sacrificing the pawn on d4. Gelfand took on f3, and after queen takes on f3 he took on d4. Okay, but let's make a stop right now and see what is the alternative for black if not taking on f3. He can try knight takes d4, and then c takes on d5, bishop f3. It's important for black to play this way. Other moves, like for example knight takes on f3, g takes, bishop h5, at first sight black has managed to ruin the pawn structure and white's pawn structure on the king side, but after a move like queen e2, black has problems to castle, and white's plan is very simple: bishop f4, rook d1, and just wait the right moment to play d6 or knight e4. There are many ideas in general. The problem is for black how to castle in this position, so I wouldn't advise this with black. Another move like queen d7, try to play queenside castle, cannot be recommended either. Actually, this move is a very big mistake. White wins by playing rook e7. Very nice combination. If queen takes, queen a4 wins the knight on d4, and if king takes, he has queen e1 check, getting out of the pin and capturing the knight on d4 on the next move. So bishop f3, and now g takes on f3. It is also possible to play queen a4 check, and after c6 take on d4. This is the way Akopian played against Gelfand last year, and still he didn't win that game. After bishop takes on d5, knight takes, queen takes on d5, the position remains about equal. Queen b4, looks like white has some pressure, but after castle, if you take on e7, black takes on d3, and there is nothing going on. So still bishop a7 gets the pawn back, king takes, rook e8, bishop e3 takes, queen takes, rook d8, h3, and now rook d7 with an equal position. This is the way Gelfand played against Akopian in Nalchik last year. So there is this alternative. I believe that for us mortals, these positions still deserve to be played because both sides have chances. But for them, the draw is almost like the only result. Okay, after bishop f3, g takes on f3, c5, d takes on c6, knight takes on c6, and bishop b5. This is the way Radyevov played against Gashimov in the year 2008. This variation I studied it long ago, and I think after d takes on c6 on move 13, white doesn't really have any opening advantage. Black's position looks sound. Bishop a5, very hard to squeeze anything out of this position. The game continues with bishop c6, b takes, rook e8, bishop b6. White is fighting for the c5 square and the weakness on c6, but it's not enough, and both players agreed to draw here. However, if we look back to move 13, white can try here the move d6, which was played by Sutowski against Inar Kiev last year, and white won convincingly. The idea is that after queen takes on d6, white plays knight b5. This move has only been played twice, and it deserves a lot of study. Probably it's the critical move for the entire variation of knight d4 in this position. Alright, so Gelfand played bishop takes on f3, avoiding all the complications. Queen takes on f3, and now knight takes on d4. Queen d1, a novelty at the time played by Kasparov in 1985 against Karpov. Okay, the idea is white simply accepts the new situation. He sacrifices a pawn, but the position is very open, and with his two bishops he can create some active play. Also, black has some problems to finish his development, which the only thing he has to do is to put his king to safety with castle. But how to do this? Castling immediately isn't so good because c takes on d5. So he cannot take on d5 because he loses e7. So he can try d takes on c4, and I think this move is possible, but probably not so good. After bishop takes on c4, white has good compensation again. If castle, white plays rook e7, so still black cannot castle. He must play c5. Other moves, I don't know if they work, but knight f5, it looks like white has a good position after queen b3, for example. Same for queen d7. White can try bishop e3, knight e6, queen b3, with the idea of rook a to d1. So c5, and now queen a4 check is very annoying because it forces black to move to f8. The move queen d7, it doesn't look so good because After takes, he's forced to take with the king, and bishop g5. White has some pressure in this position. Rook a1 coming next, and he's down the pawn. But if you look, f7 is hanging, and also the black king is in the center, so it doesn't matter that the queens are off the board. White still has a dangerous compensation. So after king f8, bishop e3, a6, threatening b5, queen d1, b5, bishop d3. White is down the pawn, but the black king is on f8. So I think it's more than enough compensation. I would take white here any minute. Alright, so after queen d1, knight e6, that's the correct move. And now bishop f5, putting pressure on e6. Gelfand played c6. Probably if black must find an improvement, I think d takes on c4 might be the best chance to equalize, because after queen a4, c6, it's important not to play queen d7, because after queen takes on c4 there is the threat of rook e6 if he castles either side. So c6 is correct, and after bishop takes on e6, f takes on e6, queen c4, and now the way Ivanchuk played looks good. Knight d5. Kramnik played castle, and after queen takes on e6, rook f7, forced, bishop e3, queen d6. Against Anand, they agreed to draw here after queen takes, but I believe that if instead of queen takes on a6 check, white plays rook e6, he's still a little better. White is a little better here, I believe. And alright, but after c6, bishop takes, queen takes, now knight d5, the position looks black's position looks solid. Rook takes on e6, for example, castle, and bishop e3, bishop f6, bishop c5, and now Ivanchuk played the move rook e8. Very good move. The alternative was rook f7, but after rook e1, bishop c3, b takes on c3, h6, bishop d4. White is a little better. He controls the e file completely. The bishop on d4 is quite strong as well, and probably it's not much, but I believe white is slightly better here. But the move that Ivanchuk played, rook e8, after rook takes on e8, queen takes, knight takes d5, white wins a pawn. But after queen f7, very difficult to play with white. If you trade queens, the endgame is very hard to win, if not impossible. And if queen d2, the way Morozevich played, then rook d8, queen b4, and now black played queen takes on a2, gaining the pawn back and completely equalizing. Rook e1, b6, bishop e7, rook e8, queen b4, a5. Well, actually they played b4, not queen b4. It's a mistake of the annotation, and the game was a draw. Okay, looking back into the line on move 13, probably after bishop f5, so d takes on c4 deserves a study for the players who want to take this line with white as well, because it's probably the hardest move to get an advantage against. So c6 is the move Gelfand played, and now c takes on d5, knight takes, and queen g4. This is a position that I really like. For just a pawn, white has a very strong initiative. Right now he's threatening to take on e6, and the black king is still in the center, so Gelfand now took on c3. This is the first new move of the game. Before this, castle had been played, but after knight takes on d5, c takes on d5, bishop e6, pawn takes, queen e6. This is a game by Nick de Firmian with the white pieces. He's a little better here, but he couldn't actually win the game. Bishop b2, rook takes d5, queen e7, and now queen g4. White is still a little better, but very difficult to win. I believe that's an improvement we can suggest. Instead of taking so quickly on e6, perhaps queen h3, threatening mate on h7, forcing g6, and then take. It would be almost the same, but I believe that this little difference is to white's favor. Okay, there is also another point to study there in this position, the move castle. Gelfand played knight c3, b takes c3, and castle. And now Radjabov played the move that I really like, that is rook b1. And this move will be a key move in the upcoming complications that we're going to see. It's a very natural move. You activate the rook, gaining a tempo, attacking the pawn on b7. So queen c7, bishop h6, threatening to take on e6 and checkmate on g7. Also possible, of course, queen h3, g6, queen takes on e6, and after rook f7, g3. Position is about equal, but white is still slightly better. He's more active, that's why. Bishop f4 is coming, and rook to d1. Radjabov played bishop a6, and we are arriving into the critical moment of this middle game, in which black must play very precise to avoid all the threats, to stop all the threats. Gelfand played bishop d6, which seems to be a little mistake. It was better to play bishop f6 with an eye on g7. Then, after queen h3, with threats like bishop takes on g7, he can play rook e8, giving the king some air, and after bishop h7 check, of course king takes is not good because of bishop f4, discover check, wins the queen. So king f8, and this is a very unclear situation. The bishop on a6 is under attack, and the king is, for the moment, is safe. So I would call it unclear here. Not sure what made Gelfand play bishop d6 over bishop f6, but the thing is that now Radjabov played queen h3, which is a good move, but not the best. If instead he had played queen h4, he would actually create some serious threats now, because the difference is that the queen on h4 in many lines controls the square f6, so the black king doesn't escape. For example, let's see this line, rook e8. Now white plays bishop g7, and after king takes on g7, queen h7, king f6, bishop takes on e6, f takes, check, and now if king f7, white has this beautiful move, rook b7. If the queen takes, queen h7, and then white wins the queen. And if now king f5, h3 followed by g4 wins. This is with queen h4. If instead of rook f e8 he plays rook a to e8, now rook e4, bringing pieces to the king side, and also the threat now is bishop g7, and after king takes, rook g4, and the king doesn't escape to f6. That's the reason. So knight c5, it doesn't work because bishop h7, again king takes, bishop g7 followed by rook g4. So you can see here the difference between queen h4 and queen h3. Both moves attack on the h file, but on h4 it covers the square f6. Okay, now Gelfand played rook f to e8, a mistake. It was better, but not obvious at all. It was better to play rook a to e8, and then if bishop takes on g7, he can take on g7 with the king. Now the king escapes to f6, and now bishop e6 doesn't work. He just takes on e6. There is nothing, and queen h6 check, rook f5, king f5, sorry, h3, rook g8, and g4 takes on g4, king takes, f3 check, and now king f5, and white has nothing here, just a draw after queen h5, king f6, queen h6, and black should go king f5 now. If black goes king e7, then white has rook takes on e6 and rook takes b7. So king f5 and queen h5 with a draw. Of course, none of this is obvious in this situation. The move played in the game was rook f to e8, and now bishop g7. This is the point. After king takes on g7, white can play queen h7, king f6, bishop e6, rook takes on e6, and queen h6 check. King e7, rook takes on e6, f takes, and rook b7, and white wins. With the rook on f8, that's the big difference between rook a to e8 and rook f to e8. With the rook on f8, this combination is not possible because simply black has rook f7 in all lines. He protects the second rank. But now if he takes, after queen takes b7, queen h7 wins the queen. So you see how important was rook b1 in the opening. Of course, Radjabov didn't play this rook b1 because all of this was about to happen. I'm not sure if it's possible to foresee all that, but the rook on b1 is a key piece in these combinations. Okay, after rook f8, bishop g7, Gelfand cannot take on g7, so he plays bishop h2 check, and white is not interested in trading queens, of course. So king f1, and king takes on g7. Of course not knight takes on g7. After queen h7 check, queen h8 is made. So king takes g7. Now queen takes on h7, king f6. So the material is black is up a piece, but his king is in great danger. That's basically it. So bishop takes on e6. This wins the piece back, because no matter what, how black takes, he loses. For example, if rook takes on e6, queen h6 check, king e7. Okay, again, if king f5, after rook takes on e6, f takes, then g4. Black cannot play king e5 or king f4 because of, well, king f4 is not possible, king e5 not possible either because of queen h2, so he has to take, and now queen g6 check, king h4, and f3, threatening to mate with queen g4 or queen h6. And if black plays queen f4, white has rook b4, so the game is over after f3. So he has to go king e7 in this position, and again rook takes on e6, f takes, and okay, rook b7 works right now, and also queen g7. Queen g7 also works, because if king d6, rook d1, and if king e8, queen g8. He moves the king and simply win the rook. So if he takes with the pawn, then same story, queen h6 check, king f7 only move, and rook takes b7. And after queen takes, queen h7. It's a very nice combination, all this with rook takes b7. It's like the rook is on the queen side, apparently doing nothing, but it's the move that decides the game. Rook takes b7. So here, after bishop e6, Gelfand played bishop f4, queen f5, king g7, and now rook b4, attacking the bishop on f4 and also threatening rook g4, basically just going to win the game by attack. Rook takes on e6, takes, on takes, queen g4 check, king h8, and rook takes on f4. White regains the material, and the black king remains exposed. It was also possible to first give check, and after queen h7 another check, and queen f4. This is also possible with the idea of queen h2 and try to, if queen h7, rook h4. This maybe was stronger, but rook f4 is simple. Just look at the black king. Queen h7 was played, queen takes on e6. Gelfand starts giving checks, queen h5, g4, queen b5 check, king f3, king g2, and now queen d5, trading queens. Okay, but of course this doesn't avoid the defeat. Just queen takes d5, c takes, and rook f7. The back rank, the king is stuck in the back rank, and now it's a very easy endgame. There is very little to say here. After b5, rook d7, a6, f4, rook c8, and now f5. And here black resigns. Idea is rook takes c3, f6, and white is threatening rook d8 check and f7. Okay, so this is a very nice win by Radjab in a line that probably will be we will see, if repeated, we will see an improvement for black. I don't doubt that there must be some kind of improvement, but over the board Gelfand couldn't solve the problems of black's position. I think here this has to be the critical position in which after bishop a6 black has to play bishop f6 to protect the g7 pawn, and then after queen h3 rook e8. This position is very hard to evaluate, and okay, those who want to play this line with white and with black should look into this. Okay everybody, thanks all for watching, and I'll see you again with a new video